A while ago, I reviewed the Incredibles video games, and if you've seen those reviews, you know that I absolutely love those games. I think they are some of the best and most underrated movie tie-in games of all time, and easily the best Pixar games along with Toy Story 2 and 3, and A Bug's Life. But today, we are going to be talking about an unofficial third installment to this saga of games, and that is LEGO The Incredibles, a game that coincided with the release of the mid-Pixar follow-up Incredibles 2. Now at first, you'd think this is just going to be a low-tier cash grab to write of the success of the IP, but today I'm going to not only talk about why it's a great game, but why it is a video game masterpiece and a surprising love letter to Pixar. So without further ado, let's talk about why LEGO The Incredibles is awesome. Now, like all LEGO games based on IP, it follows the stories of both Incredibles films, with you playing the story of the second Incredibles first before getting to replay the original story. In typical LEGO game fashion, you unlock additional characters, collect LEGO stubs, collect LEGO canisters you find by completing a puzzle or solving a riddle, and even get power-ups. While it does have all the aspects that every other LEGO game has, it still offers an enjoyable experience. One thing I like is they actually improved the second movie a bit with this version. The adaptations of the scenes are a bit more comical and creative, especially with how it told the story. A lot of the changes they made were really good and made this a superior version of Incredibles 2, except for the fact that there is no final battle with every endeavor or level where you have to stop the ship from crashing into the city like in the movie. But even then, there are a lot more positives than negatives, especially with the more satisfying end, where Violet and Tony finally have their movie date only to reveal the screenslaver is back. Really solid stuff. I also like the story mode of the first film's plot. Despite some things obviously not being as good as the original, it was still a funny and creative version of the original Incredibles, although I still wish they gave Syndrome a boss fight, since they never did in the first Incredibles game, though they do give him a fight later on in the game along with the Underminer and Bomb Voyage. As for the gameplay, it's very solid. If you played any LEGO game, you know what the controls are. It's literally the same, of course, since the characters are supers. They each have unique abilities and can perform certain tasks that others can't. Elastigirl can act as a temporary bridge for characters to cross. Mr. Incredible can lift heavy objects. Frozone can create giant ice sculptures depending on what the situation calls for. Dash can run on hamster wheel-like switches to generate power and can even get a boost thanks to this contraption. Violet can use her force field to collect purple energy to create LEGO figures, and Void can use her teleportation powers to transport other characters. The other characters like Reflux and Brick aren't as important and not as needed, but their powers are just as good as the main heroes, and I don't even need to explain. Their powers in the movie are their powers in the game. You can also perform Incredi moves by holding down the Y button when you have enough stamina to blow away enemies. And while it's not as effective as the super moves in Rise of the Underminer, they still come in handy. Overall solid gameplay. The graphics, like all other LEGO games, were done by Traveller's Tales. Oddly enough, this game was not published by Disney. Instead, it was published by WB Games, Warner Bros. Game developers previously titled Warner Bros. Interactive. This was because Disney Interactive shut down after the failure of Disney Infinity 2.0, and they had to release their games like Cars 3 Driven to win through WB, just like DreamWorks had to release some of their films like Real Steel under Disney. They must have felt awkward. As for the graphics, they are really well done. They are pretty much what you expect out of a LEGO game. Nice visuals, good lighting, expressive fluent movement, and a lot of unique memorable areas to explore and play through. The colors are vibrant and the backgrounds are really solid. Nothing much more to say. The visuals are pretty solid overall. There are also additional side missions and quests. In the story of Incredibles 2, you'll have to do some of these to progress, but the big ones take place after the campaign of the first film. You'll get to fight villains that disappeared or survived the events of the films. One big change they made in this game was Syndrome doesn't die at the end of the original film campaign. He just gets blown away and goes into hiding, so you get to fight him later on along with the Underminer and Bomb Voyage, as well as some original villains like this ice cream-related villain and a villain called the Anchorman, who is basically a sea monster. No additional screenslaver boss, though, despite them literally hinting at the return of the villain at the end of the second film's campaign. Guess we'll never know what that was leading towards, but I digress. I didn't mention this before, but there are these platforms where the characters have to team up to master build something. Most of the time, it's something you need to progress. Other times, it's these very clever set pieces referencing other Pixar films prior to Incredibles 2. and these are my favorite part of the game and why I say this game is a love letter to Pixar. In addition to building all these, you also unlock the characters from those films, like Dory, Sully, Lightning McQueen, Remy and even Flick. Glad to see Pixar remembers A Bug's Life. Wish they'd give it a sequel. In order to perform any of these though, you need a certain amount of Incredibricks to do so. Usually you need 5 of them before you can. In story levels they're scattered throughout the area, but the Incredibricks in the open world are a bit trickier to get. Most of them require a specific character with a specific power to acquire them, but if you're a true hero, then you'll get them eventually. Like all LEGO games, there are also a lot of gold bricks that are rewarded to you with every level and task you accomplish, which can award you additional characters and edition variants, like characters in classic suits or suits they wear in the sequel. I haven't collected all of them, but if you somehow manage to 100% this game and do that, you are a legend. Also red bricks, which I think have something to do with cheat codes, but that's just there. Overall guys, LEGO The Incredibles is incredibly awesome. It's not only a great LEGO game, but a fantastic movie tie-in game, and one of my favorite Pixar games. Heck, one of my favorite games of all time. I was so surprised at how much I loved this game. I thought it was going to be just another good LEGO game, but really nothing incredible. But man, this blew my expectation out of the water with fantastic presentation, great gameplay and Easter eggs that celebrate Pixar in its entirety. I highly recommend you play this game. It managed to improve a sloppily made movie. It's a lot of fun and will satisfy you if you're both a Pixar fan and LEGO fan. And this is an absolute perfect cap off to the trilogy of Incredibles games. Anyways guys, what do you think? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you guys later.